My fellow Americans, as you all know, today is President's Day. It is George Washington's birthday, but I think that's unfair. I think that President's Day should be moved to my birthday since I am by far the most notable and most influential president of all time.
Hi, sorry for that. Welcome back to the channel. Today is President's Day. So I usually do quality movie reviews. For example, my main series, the 100 movie reviews, or top 100 horror movie reviews. But good horror movies pale in comparison to bad horror movies. But not like bad horror movies. Because there are some fun bad horror movies. And so I have found two just from a quick Google search, both called President's Day, and I will be reviewing them now. So, first movie is President's Day from 2010, that's President's apostrophe S Day from 2010. So the basic story is that candidates for a school council presidency get murdered by someone dressing up as Abraham Lincoln. So this is set in a high school, and yeah, that's really about it. That's basically the entire story. There's not much plot to it, other than one of the candidates is like the typical popular girl, like mean girl, a very Regina George-esque character. The two main characters are also both running for student council president, and they don't like her. And so the movie starts with two people getting killed by Abraham Lincoln with an axe, and then it goes to the school. Spoiler warning, by the way, but I don't think anyone cares, since this movie, this President's Day with the apostrophe S, has 500 total reviews-ish on IMDb, and the other President's Day I'm going to be talking about from 2016 has just over 100. So I don't think anyone cares about spoilers, but just in case, this is your spoiler warning. Cool. So, yeah. Two people get killed in the very beginning of this movie by Abraham Lincoln. Then we cut to school, and this guy sees this girl in his science class, and he gets a crush on her, like immediately, right out the gate, asking her, "Hey, do you want to marry me?" And she said, only if you vote me student council president." And so he's talking with someone else, or he's talking with the security guard, because he and the security guard are friends for some reason. And the security guard says, "You know, if you really want to get to know this girl, you should run for student council president too." And so our main character, can't even remember his name to be honest, runs for student council president. And so there are like 12 candidates, and just throughout the movie they get picked off, narrowing down the list of people it could be. And then in the end, it's only the mean girl and the main character left, because the crush dropped out to campaign with the main character. And so Abraham Lincoln lures them down into the basement, where it's revealed that's actually the civics teacher, and then they kill him, and all is well. I mean, yes, there's other stuff that happens in the movie, but honestly, it's a really bad movie. So I took a couple notes. So a dog does die, and it does show it. And also, like I just mentioned, this is an awful movie, but it's definitely a fun bad sort of movie. Like, the acting was terrible, the effects weren't good, really at all. The direction was terrible, just, there wasn't much actually good about this movie, but to a point to where it was laughable. So, it was a fun bad movie. Content warnings, there's quite, or I say quite a lot of nudity. It's at the very beginning, there's an extended shot of breasts, and then just under halfway, there's a quick shot of breasts. And then also unseen sexual acts in the very beginning. So violence and gore. So in my previous videos, the editor has been putting in a gore line, Halloween on the low end, Evil Dead on the high end, and I would say it's about 50%, so right in the middle of that line, as far as violence and gore goes. There's moderate language. I counted about 6 F-words in it. I would not recommend this as a first horror movie just because there is a lot of nudity if you're sensitive to that. Also, if this is your introduction to the horror genre, I am very sorry. They're not all like this. So my placement of this movie in the holiday movies list, which will be in the description, this is only the second one I've done and it's currently number 2 on the list because there is no way this is as good as My Bloody Valentine. And then in the overall list, which is just my opinion of how rewatchable they are, I'm keeping track of them by myself. They won't be in the description since there's only limited description space. I will probably put the one before it and the one after it, just for some context. So in the overall list, I would put this at number 11, so that is below The Exorcist, but above Halloween. I really do not like Halloween. So moving right along, this is a very fast-paced video because the less I talk about these movies, the better it is for you. So 2016's President's Day. This is just straight up S, no apostrophe. The basic story is that the presidents of past, like all of them pretty much, except for a couple, which they make quips about why they aren't there in the movie, try to kill a group of teens after being resurrected from the dead. So yeah, the longer story for it, so these 6 friends and a nerd go out to one of the friends' uncle's cabin. So they go to the cabin, but then on their way they find a, if you've seen Friday the 13th, like a Crazy Ralph type character, but it's basically just like a harbinger, like someone being like, oh no, you don't want to keep going this way because you're gonna die. And they're like, whatever, man. So he throws a book into the back seat, into one of their bags without them noticing. And so this kind of goth emo chick-ish, like she looks like someone who would read Edgar Allan Poe and like feel it in all the worst ways. She opens the book and she sees a bunch of incantations written down, and she reads one of the incantations, and then she has a crush on a guy, and then she sees someone else hitting on the guy, and so she runs out into the forest and is like, oh, woe is me. And then Abraham Lincoln comes up and is like, fascinating. You know, it's not all bad. And then he turns his axe toward her, and so she freaks out and runs back to the house and tells everyone, like, Abraham Lincoln is alive, and he's trying to kill me. And then he does kill her, like, right after she says that, and explains, like, oh, the book. So, yeah, and then after that, it's just a bunch of presidents attacking people. It is a comedy. I would say it's more comedy than horror, honestly. So yeah, it ends with a girl and her technically ex killing everyone, or killing the presidents, and then the presidents had killed everyone else. So they killed the presidents and then gone to live their normal lives, and then the gimmick at the end is 8 months later, they're at home together, and one of the characters is like, oh, what day is it today? And the other one's like, oh, it's Columbus Day. And then the gimmick at the end is that Columbus jumps up, and then they, like, explain to him, no, this isn't India. And he's like, it's not? Oh man, you guys are freaking me out. So that was basically the entire movie. Just presidents trying to kill people with an insane amount of quips. I didn't have any notes on it. There's nothing really noteworthy. Content warnings. There's quite a lot of language in it. I counted 18 F words. For nudity, there is male nudity from behind, revealing clothing like swimsuits and underwear, and sexual dialogue throughout. Violence and gore on the gore line is about a 60%. I would not recommend this as a first horror movie since it is a horror comedy. It does make a lot of references and jokes about like horror tropes. So if you don't know about those, then you would seem pretty lost for most of the humor. For the placement on the holiday horror movies, I put it at number 2, so that is below My Bloody Valentine and above President's Day 2010. And overall, I put it at number 10, so that is below Jaws and above The Exorcist. As far as rewatchability goes, because honestly, I did enjoy this movie. It wasn't a good movie by any means, but I mean, it was at least entertaining, and that's all I really want in a movie. It may not be what everyone's looking for, but yeah. So, yeah, that was just a really quick reviews, just because I wanted to do President's Day something. Again, I want to do holiday horror movies, so if you have any recommendations for holiday horror movies, put them in the comments, and I'll probably watch them. I mean, I just watched 2 awful movies on a whim, and if you have any horror movie suggestions at all, I'll probably watch them as well. But yeah, that's it for the video. It's the holiday horror movies, so there's no scratch off or anything, but yeah, thank you for watching.